next speaker, the representative of the Director General of the DSS, Dr. Hakeem Abiola, is representing the Director General of the DSS, and he will be speaking to us on the general theme of the insurgency, banditry, and kidnapping. The DSS, of course, is at the very center of tackling this problem, and a major element, as you can see, of the whole theme of the seminar is intelligence gathering in the fight against this insurgency, and nobody is better placed to speak about that than the DSS. So we welcome you very much, Dr. Hakeem Abiola. You have 10 minutes to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Your Excellency, distinguished panelists, other members listening from records and listening from the parts of the world. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Hakeem Abiola. I'm leading special operations from the Department of State Service, headquarters. This issue. And I'm sure you can hear that governors should be aware.
We will need you to speak louder, sir. We need you to speak louder.
Should be, like the governors there will be aware, and like the governor of Sokoto will also be aware too. The DGSSL, the Inspector General of Police, and all the other heads of security agencies have been going around some of these areas and be having dialogue, and that's why they cannot be here. I think there's no other better time for this important discourse to hold than now, and I think it's a good thing. Like you have noted, there's no doubt that we have known that this threat is everywhere, and you can see the way it started, more like from the northwest. And particularly, we started getting the intelligence from some of the local government that have a border with Niger Republic and among others, where you have some of these foreign machineries that come into the country, more like an exploration. And I think we have had situations sometimes in Sokoto, they had that and they had to tell them to go back. But like you know, one of the challenges we have in the country is about the porous borders. And before you know it, some of them have moved from that part. They've been to the epicenter, Sampara, enter Katsina. And we also know that because of the way the forests are connected, they have come back to Niger State and extending now even to part of Nasarawa. And most of the time, you can even see some of the activities on the Abuja-Kaduna Highway, Abuja-Lokoja Highway, because of the way the thing is spreading. But for SSS, like an intelligence organization, we have always been doing our part. And more importantly, we know that it's people that generate some of this information, which the service part. And like the governor of Sokoto also noted in the speech, some of these intelligence are adequately passed. Some of them are sent to some of the security agencies, and at times this will require them doing tactical operation, which will at times lead them to go into some of the hideouts. But notwithstanding, we know that even in spite of the intelligence, there have been some shortcomings, and that is why it has been very difficult at times to curtail this. And like we think one of the major challenges that has been there itself is when the intelligence are procured, are they quickly utilized? What about the utilization of the intelligence? Are they utilizing it on time? Is there any coordinated action at the level of the state to require what needs to be done? And like some of these things that happen, if we observe, some of them usually come, we have also observed recently that what they have done over time is because of the ungoverned space, particularly in the forest area, where apart from the issue of the porosity of the border, you see them in the utilizing some of the forests that have not been over time been left abandoned, and that is one of the areas the service itself has also noted. And one of the things they are doing right now is the service, along with relevant security agencies, which is being coordinated by the Department of Intelligence, is now having a committee which is looking at how to manage the forest area. But one challenge is that we as a service have known is that mostly some of these things are not really about the intelligence or about the security agencies themselves. We, for instance, at the level of that forest committee, we discovered that a lot of the forests that are being managed are actually mainly under the federal government, but some of them specifically are actually under the state government as well. And then many of them have left the place ungoverned, and that's why, aside from the issue of insecurity, you can see a lot of economic abuse also going on there. And that is why they are part of the proposal that government is considering now is that this national park, which is at the federal, and the state forest officer must also come together, because most of the time they are the one there. Because one of the intelligence we received is that aside from the people that are coming even from the Sokoto axis, there is also the fringe that are now using the Kayama area in Niger State, and from there they can even go to Kwara. So it has really become an issue. And all these things is not that the intelligence are not there, they're always there. So I think what we need to do is just to see how we need to, for the security agencies, coordinate them, like it is being done. And at the level of what is also going on within the Northwest now is more important. But at the same time, we also think it's also important that at the community level, they need to also be engaged. Though we know in some of these areas that there have been crises, a lot of them have left the place, and some of them are even in IDP camp right now. But notwithstanding, concerted effort is made. And one of the things that the service is also looking is the capability of the security agencies, apart from we being coordinated. What kind of weapons are all these people using? Where are they bringing the arms from? And quite disturbing, another thing that we have seen is that why in the Northeast, the Boko Haram Operation Lafiya Dole, which is ongoing, is pursuing them. A lot of them are now even coming to have an alliance with some of the bandits. So there's a kind of nexus between the bandits and the terrorists. And one of the things we have also known that is fueling it is availability of arms. And that is one area that aside from the intelligence agencies, aside from the security agencies, that we also need to get the community involved. Because most of the time, some of these people that you see, they come in terms of maybe herding, some come in terms of selling animals and the rest. You see them that part of what they do bring along as well is arms. And some of these arms are those ones that really get into the hands of these bandits. And it makes it easy for them to really sell these arms along the line. And there is a lot of cartel that, even aside from the fact that they are the ones, they have the fighting troop, but they are the cartel itself that engage in bringing arms. And a lot of places have been identified by the service, and some of the things that is also being proposed. And I think it will also be important, maybe the state governors that share borders with some of these states, for instance, like Chad, Niger, and the rest, can also see how they can engage that. Or I think they are doing, the security agencies are doing their own. Or if this can also be done, some of these network area can itself be blocked. And if this supplies of arms itself can be reduced, I think it will also go a long way. But right now, if we want to look at the map of Nigeria and look at some of the areas where all these people, because of the way our geography is and we are well connected, it has become so easy for them to move through the bush path. And you know, one of the major logistics they use these days is they come with motorbike. There are times in some of them you see them entering the country, either through some even coming with horses, some coming with even their bike, and they can. That is why it can be easy for them to enter from that place, and before you know it, they're as far as even Niger State, and so then some of them even coming to part of this FCT to not to even to extent of National State. So so that is why we think as a service what needs to be done is part of what is ongoing right now, which needs to be consolidated with the governors of the concerned state, with the high-level security agency. But at the same time, sir, like we have also noted, the community that are also involved, they generate information. I know that, Your Excellency, there's no how don't get even information before the security agencies. And a lot are also passed. So we understand that there's a need for coordination among the security agencies. There's a need to review, because we don't have to underestimate it. We have seen a lot of times that even when these intelligence are provided and they want to go for some of these bandits, some of the criminals, you see that the fatalities will be more on the Nigerian security forces. And why is it like this? We discover that the bandits, the criminals, they go around with the same arms some of our own security forces carry. So I think part of the security research is that we should also look at how we can up our armament so that our security forces can go beyond carrying the usual AK-47 that is available. Even if we are cutting the chain of the supply, we have to also look at enhancing the capability. There are so many weapons that can be used, to be curtailed that, because you cannot be engaging an enemy you have that have the same thing. And at the same time, we have also been suggesting on the use of technology. And one of the major things, like we discussed, there are a lot of drones that can be used. Because at least if you can fly a drone that can travel far, you'll be able to acquire more adequate intelligence for you to now be able to plan on how to engage them. Like we all know, some of them, they hide under the thick forest, and which at times may be difficult for even when you have an helicopter. But there are some technology that can really detect that. And I think Kaduna State is doing something like that. I'm aware Zamfara State is also doing something like that as well. So I think if there can be this synergy to support the security operations, and we train them, it's not just going about it. We apply technology. Then, like you also know, one of the major things they use is phones. So if that capability can be there for the security agencies to be supported, because it costs a lot, and I know some states have actually done that, and they are really recording some success. So with all this, if some of these areas from the community, from the adequate utilization and coordination of the security, their support services, and let's also look at the armament. How do we increase that? Then we have to also do the collaboration. I think some of this collaboration, particularly with some of these foreign countries, can be done more, because we need to really know where they're coming from. And aside from the issue of this criminality that is ongoing, and one of the things they do is that when they come, even when they are short of arms, when they are short of money or they're out of this thing, that's when they resort to kidnapping for ransom. They go and write to your community, kidnap all of them, and they get some of this money. And it is this same money they fuel in getting some of this arms. And I believe that since there's intelligence that know where some of these things are coming from, we can really take it back. Some of them coming from Libya, coming from Niger, coming from Chad, bringing some of these arms into the country. We can stop that. Then we increase the training of our people. Like I'm aware, like it's been suggested that because of the way the challenges we have, we also look at the training we are giving our people. Is it the same place that we'll be training them? We need to really improve on some of these areas, and that's why it's being suggested that, particularly from the Nigerian Army, most of the time they train in particular place. Maybe they can also take them, and that level they can really train more people and put them there, so that a lot of, when they are being trained, a lot can be assimilated, and let them also look at the tactical approach. Then all those areas. Then it has also been suggested at the level of the Air Force approach and the Army approach. Most of the time, you need a reconnaissance from the air. It is always very easy. Though we are looking at it, even though these criminals, they have arms, some of them even beyond the normal AK-47, but with a lot of air reconnaissance, it will go a long way to assist. And if all this can be done with some of the things that is on ground, because most of the time we always get the intelligence that you can see a particular group entering so area, and by that time you will know that it's either they are going to route A or route B. And it's definitely when you see them in groups, they come on bike, and all these are some of the issues. They have specific motorcycle that's being used, though I know a lot has been done in terms of some of the state governments even banning the use of motorbike and the rest. But they, most of the time, do not even use, they don't even use the normal routes. You see them going through the bush path, through the forest area. And there are also people there in the forest. And that is why I think part of the thing the state government can also do to assist in gathering intelligence, because I know a committee is working on that. It has been suggested that state governors should also look at the forest area. They need to recruit more people and put them there. Because some of the intelligence you gather from the park services is that because of this forest that have been left, a lot of them are also under, particularly maybe Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Environment, that they never really, they focus mainly on maybe looking at the resources, the trees and the animals there. But this is where we have some of these people. And when they see them, it's very difficult. And part of also the things that we need to do, so like we have also observed, is that most of the times when they want to operate, they go to particular places where there could not be communication. So we need to also try and see that we can develop infrastructure into those areas. Where those areas are active, where there are infrastructures, I think it will go a long way. And we look at the loss of some of the state and the loss of the at the national level. There's a lot to be reviewed. There's a lot that needs to be done. When we look at that, I think it will go a long way in enhancing even the criminal justice system. Because what we discovered, we have had cases. We have arrested people that are active bandits, or maybe when you caught them, probably you caught them with just like one AK-47 and probably maybe about 90 rounds. But these are people you have been monitoring over the time. And when they want to travel, they don't go like they want to go on attack. But that affords us an opportunity when they come out from the bush, because of the monitoring we've been doing, we arrest them. And when you want to take them to court, they probably want to charge them for possession of firearms. Because the court system will want to tell you that maybe there are just no evidence to prove they are bandits, because they will never admit they are bandits. And when you take them, by the time even the court finds them guilty of possession of arms, they have an option to pay a fine of 20,000 naira, or they can as well, because it's bailable, or as a matter of fact, maybe about 7 years or thereabouts. So you can see that we need to also look at the criminal justice system so that that can be improved. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Hakeem Abiola. That was a very thoughtful presentation on behalf of the Director General of the DSS. We are not surprised because you are the guys in the thick of the action. You touched many areas, you said many things, including that there are some shortcomings in intelligence gathering, but that was exactly what our late father, Damara Honsokoto, said, that you don't have to wait until you have 100% accurate intelligence before you take action, because it is very difficult to have 100% accurate intelligence, because the criminals are also very clever and their tactics are always changing. So even if you have 25% accurate intelligence, you should better take preventive action. That way you will solve a lot of problems.